My guest today is Jennifer Lundy, Executive Director of a new nonprofit called Texans for Judicial Accountability. So Jennifer, this is the first time there's been an organization like this in Texas, and we're really excited to learn more about it today. But let's start by just tell us how this idea came about and then describe the group for us.
It came about actually about 4 or 5 years ago, although it was not an idea yet. I had, quite a few constituents who would call having issues with their courts. And the job I worked at, I was working for a senator at the time, and we did not cross. They normally had attorneys, and if they had a problem, we would just tell them, I'm sorry, you're going to have to talk with your attorney, go through the court. But they would always send us information. I would look at it. And, there were some things that were disturbing. But we had one case in particular that came through. And I actually met the person whose case it was because I was a precinct chair also, and so was he. And so I met him throughout the years, and he would tell me things about it, and I'm still, I'm very sorry. But he sent me all of his casework, and so I paid attention. So, throughout time, my senator changed, my jobs changed. I was working for someone who was running for legislature, and they were very interested in the judicial area. So his case was coming up, and he asked if I could go to it, and I'm like, well, I'll ask her, because I did my job. So I asked her, and she said yeah, she wants to know what's going on, because she had issues. And not issues like with herself, but just she had heard the same things I've been.
You wanted to witness someone to witness this.
Yes. So I went to a couple of hearings, and during the time, probably between the first and second one, the race was over. I was then working for someone else. But before his actual hearing, the judge called her and said, if I came to the actual hearing, he'd make sure I did not work in that county again. And she let me know this, and she let him know that I was working for someone else. He called that person too and said the same thing to them. And it really bothered me that my job would be on the line for doing my job. And it bothered me that a judge could or would
was willing to, for sure.
Was willing to for a hearing that he had going on. So that's what got me started. I moved out of that county and over here, and the person whose hearing I'd gone to, I let him know once all the campaigns were over, because I just needed to focus on my job. But he talked to me a lot. He absolutely got other people in the state who are having the same or similar issues as him to call me or email me and let me know that it's not just where I was, it's going on all over. And believe me, I have heard it everywhere now. When I was just down in Corpus Christi, this past week, I had people coming up and telling me about issues that they're having there with their judges. And I'm like, it's everywhere. So that's what got me started.
That's great. And let's talk about reform. So you're advocating for a lot of really interesting reforms. We've published a story on this, but we wanted to let you say it. So what are some of the reforms that you're pushing for?
Okay, so our main one is we want every complaint to be public. Once it has been investigated. Now that's one little issue I have with the guy who I was working with, because he wants them all to be public immediately, but that's not really fair. If you put out something that's against someone and it takes them a year to actually investigate it, then that thing's out. But so we have to be careful here. But we want every single conviction of every single complaint to be public. There have been over 500 private reprimands. And there have been over 200 public reprimands, which we're very happy that they're public, but the 500 is what really causes concern. Wow. They are everything from drinking and driving to the simple things like they didn't complete their judicial hours. And, you know, I can almost understand the judicial hours, but it's not just that. It's so much more. And that 500, that's over 20 years. The 200 that they published have been over 20 years, 240 something. It's very concerning that we cannot see everything because these are elected officials. Officials. We need to know what's going on.
Yeah, because we vote for these people, we need to at least know what they're doing right or wrong.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. If folks don't know right now, all these disciplinary actions that are not public, there's no way to know which judge we're even talking about. We don't know who the complainant was, what county, like we know nothing other than some action was taken.
Well, and these, I'll have to look at my notes to see how many, but there's only like 87, I think it's the number, who are actually taken out of the system because they're crimes. And this kind of bothers me, but they are taken, they lose their position as a judge, and they lose their position to be a traveling judge if they've committed crimes. And that's it. They are not, that's their reprimand. You know, if they steal something, for example, and I'm just making that particular thing up, but some of them are as bad. But if they do something like that, and they can give up their judge position and not have to face the same thing that we would have to face.
Like not go to jail. Like,
correct.
Wow.
Correct. And that bothers me. I mean, there are so many judges at this point who have been in for many, many years. They have no one running against them. No one will run against them because I know in counties like where I am, it's such a large county that the judges don't really have to worry about that so much. But when you go to the smaller counties, and there is a definite judge who has been in for a long time, no one will run against them.
It's a conflict. I know that especially in the family court system, the judges the campaigns are mostly floated by attorney firms. And it's shocking if you think about it, because if you're going through a divorce and you might not know that the opposing counsel gave a lot of money to this judge, and you're assuming there's this, you know, fairness aspect to this. So among other things, but yeah.
Well, there was one judge there. Now, this judge fortunately lost. He had been appointed, and so then he was running for election. So there were two people running against him. There were some attorneys that I knew, and he demanded for them to give him money for his campaign. Physically twisted the arm of one of them.
Wow.
I mean, I you know, thank God they did not vote him in because he was awful. But you know, and those are the kind of things we're happy about. But he had not been elected in to start with. Had he been elected in to start with, no one would have been able to do anything about it. In that
also, I noticed I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe one of the things you're advocating for is if these judges are found guilty of an offense, or the State Commission on Judicial Conduct disciplines them, they are then suable. Right now, they have a level of immunity that's pretty high, but you'd like to see that change.
Yes, I would like to see that change. So, you know, I've struggled a little bit because I'm wanting to make sure that the way I put things out are honest and accurate, because I don't want it to come up to session next session and have people sit there and say, no, that's not true. So I've had people tell me that you can sue a judge. And so I'm doing a lot of research into that, because I have a lot of people say you can't, and a lot of people say you can. So I'm going to have to leave that one until I can actually know what I'm talking about.
I think it's fair to say it's very difficult.
Very difficult. Yes, absolutely.
Right now.
I mean, what judge is going to want to take that case?
They know they're friends with their colleagues, so they're going to try to protect one another, which is another one of the issues we see.
Yes.
Are there any forms you want to go ahead and just get anything else you want to get in there, please?
Well, we're wanting audio and video in every courtroom.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's a big one to us. I know that they don't like it, and I understand why they wouldn't when you're just trying to be yourself, and then you've got people scrutinizing everything you do. But they are elected people, not hired, and we need to be able to watch them.
Folks, if you like what you're hearing, Jennifer's organization needs donations, and where can folks follow and support this new nonprofit?
TexansForJudicialAccountability.org. And in there, we have a place where you can click donate, and you can absolutely donate. We need the money because we want to be able to get out all over the state.
We appreciate you having time for us today.
I've even had people from Oklahoma calling me. I mean, I've told them I appreciate that we've got some issues all over the United States, but right now I'm going to focus on Texas.
Take care of
if
Texas.
It goes the way we are praying, it will go, and these judges are held more accountable.
Other states will take notice. Yeah, I assume. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Okay. Thank you again, Jennifer, so much.
Thank you.